I'm joined with John Feneck here at the Beaver Creek Precious Metals Summit. John, thanks for joining us.
My pleasure, Steve.
So, John, as you sit in this chair, gold is hitting all-time highs. I got to say, though, you would expect euphoria at a conference like this with gold hitting all-time highs. It doesn't feel like that's happening right now.
I agree. Yeah, it's a little bit more subdued this year for some reason. Just walking around, and I know Denver Gold's numbers were down substantially in terms of investors coming up next week. I think that's as a contrarian, I think that's a good sign. I think that people are so greedy right now that they're chasing Nvidia, tech, real estate. They're just missing a great sector here that's going to emerge over the next couple of months, right? Because there's more and more wealthy people that are seeing gold as a hedge in their portfolio. It's not just central bank buying, in my opinion, which I said a couple weeks ago on Kitco. I mean, I really believe that. I think there's a lot more interest in gold as it makes all-time highs, which is ridiculous to me because I'm a value manager. I want to buy more silver here because the gold to silver ratio is about 89 as we record this. And every time you get to 90, it's a buy on silver and silver equities going back to the 80s.
Where do you think that the ratio should sit at?
Well, most of my contemporaries are like in that 55 to 65 kind of range, and I don't think you need to get there. Like, I mean, if we go from 90 to 70, we're going to make so much money on silver and silver equities that it doesn't really have to get back to historical norms.
So either we see gold going down to like $1,700, or we see silver going up to $50.
No, I think that gold has put in a new floor. Like last year, we closed over 1,900 5 months plus in a row, right? Right now, you're closing over 2,300 for weeks and weeks in a row. That's very bullish because we're just creating new floors on the price of gold. So I don't see a retest back to that 2,000, 2050 level unless we get some type of black swan event.
Yeah. And we're seeing some of the big U.S. banks too on gold. I think Bank of America and Citi are both projecting gold to go to $3,000 in 2025. Which, I mean, these like here we're at more of an equity conference for the gold juniors, and the cash flow they're going to be printing should gold get to $3,000 is going to be something that I think is going to create an absolute amazing environment for stock pickers.
Absolutely. I mean, the biggest holding in GDX is Newmont, and their last quarter in July wasn't wonderful from an AISC perspective, which stands for all-in sustaining costs per ounce. That was around $1,560, if I remember correctly. So, you're not making killer margins, but still very good margins. And that was the worst of the big three, which are Barrick, Newmont, and Agnico. They came in a lower AISC. So, we own GDX, we own Agnico. We would own Newmont if we didn't already own so much of the two previously mentioned. So,
I was chatting with Anthony Maluski yesterday, and something he always likes to say is you can't fight the tape. And I'm curious, how important do you think tailwinds are when you're investing in equities?
I use a rifle approach to all of my research. You can throw darts at a 2016 rally in like mid-tier silver plays like Hecla, Core, First Majestic. They were all huge winners for us. We were up 149% that year. It was largely because I was following the momentum, right? And then when August came, if you remember, Janet Yellen and Fisher, they pulled the rug and the Fed changed direction. And that's when we sold half of everything, literally in like 2 days. And that saved our year because we would have retraced so much of our gains if we didn't. So it's important to know when to buy, when to sell. Right now is a buy. I mean, you have to be buying gold equities here. There's so many cheap gold equities because they're so disconnected from the price of gold.
Mm-hmm. Now, the big talk I'm hearing buzz about, I'm not hearing any rumors, but is that it's all M&A right now. That because we're not getting those investment flows in from retail investors, it's creating a great environment for the majors to go and start to acquire some of those second-tier producers. I'm curious, when you walk around, I'm sure you're having conversations with CEOs, investors, bankers, fund managers. What's the buzz? What are you guys talking about?
The two themes in the last couple of days, to your point, is that many of the junior CEOs I know have said that the majors are more interested in their projects more than ever, like right now. So that's very bullish. What I would caution those same CEOs as I have is don't sell cheap. We don't want 20% premiums.
Yeah.
It's not what we're in this for.
Yeah.
So our recommendation is cash up another time, do some more drilling, expand the resource, and then sell at 3,000 gold or 2,800 gold, not here, right? Because the majors need you. That's the message, right? And the majors are really slow to act. And so I think the juniors are in a good spot right now. It doesn't feel like it to them, I get that, but they really need to, patience is a virtue, right? And so we're getting to a better place next year, I think, for gold juniors and mid-tiers, and silver for that matter.
So a friend of mine who's made a lot of money in investing in micro caps, he always likes to say when you're at a conference and you're chatting with smart investors, you don't want to ask them what do they like, you want to ask them what are they buying.
Yeah.
So John, what are you buying right now?
Well, Golden Cariboo, GCCFF in the States, GCC in Canada had tremendous results a couple of days ago. I was shocked to see it sell off yesterday. I have no idea why anyone would be selling on those drill results, but we bought more yesterday, in full disclosure, and we're building our position slowly into that stock because I think Frank Callahan's a great leader, and they're in a really good part of Canada with a proven track record of success. I just started to buy more First Nordic here at 24 cents US, FNMCF, because Taj has another history of success at Discovery Silver, right? And he moved over to Sweden now, and I think he'll get it done there. That's a 2.5 million ounce deposit of gold in Sweden. I think they'll grow it to 3 to 4 million by next year. So you don't have to wait very long for it to be, a takeover candidate. In gold, I met with 1911 Gold yesterday. They have a really interesting story. The market cap on that is 17 million Canadian right now. It's AUMBF in the States, AUMB in Canada. If you go back and look at their market cap in 2011-12, when gold was humming back then, their market cap was $1 billion Canadian. So, they have lost a tremendous amount of a following because of different things that have happened with the stock. But as an investor, you always have to look forward, right? It's important to look back, but you have to look forward and say in a hot gold environment, they can go back into production in a couple of years. They don't need 5 years. It's 2 years. So it's very interesting. They're putting out a resource estimate, I believe, this month. So something to watch.
So this time next year, we sit down here at Beaver Creek Precious Metals Summit 2025. Right. You think that we're going to be talking about how capital finally started to flow into the second tier and the developers?
Absolutely. Yeah. We're near an inflection point right now. It's like I talk to maybe 20 CEOs a week, and I can hear it in their voice how frustrated they are. Usually it's like, this is a time when it feels really bad in your gut to go buy. That's just how I'm very I'm sensitive to those kind of things. I like talking to a lot of people to get a feel for what they're thinking, and they're thinking with gold at this price, their stock is completely undervalued.
John, last question for you. You have a conference coming up. If anybody in our audience is interested in meeting with various gold names, where do they go to? Where is the conference?
Sure.
How do they sign up?
Yeah. So the website's topshelf-partners.com. And right there on the homepage, an investor can register, or a company. We're only having 35 companies at this, and I've been careful to spread the attendee list amongst different capitalizations, right? So there are some juniors, but also some mid-tiers and some majors, because I have a lot of financial advisors coming to the show, and they can't always buy juniors. And on the investor side, we've got retail there, financial advisors, private equity hedge funds predominantly. I'm not bringing in super big hedge funds or mutual funds like Van Eck. I'm just trying to get a lot of retail into the show. So we'd love to have people show up. It's at Four Seasons, Fort Lauderdale. Beautiful hotel, 2 years old, October 20 through 22.
Well, John, thanks very much for hopping on here, and I look forward to catching up with you in Florida in October.
Likewise. Thanks, Steve.